Hi, it's Mr. Ham again. So in this video, I want to go through collision detection, and the one that I'll be using, and the one that I'll only be using because it's the simplest to do, is circle shaped collisions, where two circles meet each other and how we check for that. And we're going to implement it so that we're going to check when we're going to be checking when the projectiles collide with the asteroids, and then we want to delete the asteroids and the projectiles if they collide with each other. So before I actually start programming, let me show you what I mean by circle-shaped collisions. So what I'll do is I'll open Word document, go into new page, just go, no, I don't want to cover page. Can I insert? That's okay, just put that down. All right, so here's the idea of it. So let's say you had two circles. This circle and this circle. Now the thing is, this circle and this circle. And these two circles have a radius. They have a radius. Let's call it R1. And this one is R2. Now, if the distance from the centers is greater than the sum of the distance of the R's, then you haven't collided, right? So if R1 plus R2 is still smaller than this distance D, then no collision. But like, if these circles are colliding, like this, you can see that this is R and this is R, and the distance between the two is shorter than R1 and R2. So if R1 plus R2 now is longer than D, then there's a collision. And that's what we're checking for. It's the simplest. Now you're probably wondering, how do we check collision on a triangle? Well, I'm just going to assume that it's roughly a circle like this. And we'll just play around with the numbers. So I know that if it does this, it's going to die anyway. But that's okay. We're going to assume that this thing is a circle. And the tip, if it collides with the tip, it doesn't register because the circle is here. And that's fine. Just for simplicity's sake, we'll just do that. All right, so let's do that. Let's get started and let's program our collision. All right, so we're going to do collision detection in our game window. Our game window, the reason being is the asteroids are created in the game window. So I don't want to. It's just the highest level, and then it can see everything. It can see the asteroids. It can also see the projectiles in the ship. So it's the best thing to do this at this point, without too much more work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a check. We're going to check for every asteroid. We're going to check for every asteroid. As we check every asteroid, we want to check every projectile, and we want to compare. We want to see if every projectile, which projectiles are colliding with which asteroid. And the projectiles are in the main ship, so I got to go this dot projectiles. Got to grab it from the main ship. Okay. Now I want to work out my R and D's. So first, what I'll do is I'll go dim radius sum, so rad sum, which is the radius of the projectile, which is the size of the projectile divided by 2, plus the radius of the asteroid, which is the asteroid divided size divided by 2. Alright, I get the radius sum. And now I need to get the distance between the two. So there's two distances. There's the x distance and the y distance. I gotta check them both. Alright, I need to check them both. So we'll go distance x distance, call it x distance, is projectile dot x minus asteroid dot x. And since I want the distance, I need to get the magnitude of it. So I need to go math.absolute because I only want the distance. I don't want any negatives and positives in here. They throw me off. And of course I need the y distance as well. Same, everything's the same except it's y. Okay, now I do a check. We do the check that we did in our Word document. The radius sum is less than d. There's no collision. So we're checking for a collision. So we want the radius sum greater than our d. If the radius sum is greater than our yd and radius sum is greater than our yx and xd, then we know we've collided, and we're going to mark the deletion of the current projectile and the deletion of the current asteroid. Set it to false or true, or delete them. And then we got to handle the deletion of them. So we're marking them to be true. We actually need to handle it just like we handled it in the spaceship in the last few videos, where the spaceship handles the deletion of the projectiles when it's out of bounds. Well, I'm just going to grab that code from the ship, update at the end of it. I'm going to grab that code, go back in the game window, and after this detection that is collided, delete our projectiles and our asteroids. And you notice that I'm using this so often. I use it so often. I use it to delete projectiles and things all the time. So because I use this so often, you know what? I'm thinking about just creating this as a shared function in the game window. Now, you shouldn't put it in the game window. You should have your own little function class, but I'm not going to add in our class. That's it. I'm just going to shove it here. So what I'll do is I'll go public share. So because then the spaceship can use it. Delete delete from list. We'll call it delete from list, and what we can do is we can pass a list in. Right. And since it's different types of lists, we need to give it a type of, and of type. How do we do a type? Forgot how to do it in this language. Let me just pause. So I just forgot the word to put this sub here. So it's of some unknown type. So what I'm doing here is I want to pass in a list of some unknown type, and we'll set the type here when we know what we're going to delete. So this is a bit, this can delete any type of list. So it could be an asteroid list, it could be a projectile list, and T is the type that we'll set later, and I'll show you soon. But for now, we just want to delete this. So what we do is we'll grab the code from here, all of this. Don't even need that anymore because we're going to now use this deletion code. And this is our list. Well, this list here, LST. LST. Oh yeah, that's right. This is not a member of T. It doesn't know that this exists. So you know what? It shouldn't be T. It should be game object. So, and luckily we inherit from game object. All of these things because they're all game objects. Doesn't matter if they're asteroids or whatnots. They're all game objects, and now it knows. You should know what this is. What's the issue now? To be destroyed is not a member of game object. Oh yes, it is. It's right here. What, I can't spell, is it? Go back to game window. To be destroyed is not a member of game object. Yes, it is. It is a member to be destroyed. Pause. Oh yes, of course. Since I know what type it is, I don't need to do that. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so now I can use this function and just shove in a list I want to delete stuff from. So the two lists I want to delete stuff from is asteroids and asteroids with an S, and the other one was the main ship projectile. Projectiles. It's not a projectile. Let's pause again. Yeah, so I'm trying to put asteroids in here, but this is a game object. So actually, instead of putting asteroids here, I should put game object here. Yeah, I should put game object here, and then I can add. It's a base class. I should put the base class here. And actually, and then I'm still able to add an asteroid to a base class, so that's fine. And that's error finish. So now I got to go back into my main ship, go back up to my projectiles list and call that game objects. So we just want to go a bit more general. We can still add projectiles to game objects, but we can't go the other way. Alright, so that's good. So now let's see if it works. There we go, it's gone. 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 So it all works fine. So we've got a few left. Just kill them. Just delete them all. Blah, 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 blah. Gone. Alright, so everything that works fine. Alright, no worries. I guess we're nearly finished. We want to do other things such as if I touch the asteroid, the game's over, and maybe clean up the game afterwards. See you in the next video.